Hey Monkey community, hope everyone had a great weekend. Checking in on the project. We're at 344,000 market cap, slightly up over the last 24 hours on low volume, which is pretty typical for the weekend. And I'm still bullish about the project. And I was going to talk a little bit about the bull case for Monkey, just a few points that I've talked about over the months, but I thought I'd put a few together in one video here. So the first thing is that it's a monkey in a light blue tracksuit, and there haven't been any monkey runners up to a billion. And I think an important thing is it's outside of the trendy meta, meaning, like we've got Franklin, a couple Franklin coins at least, and some others that are following trends, some of the Pokemon stuff. And this is outside of that. So it's a pure animal play, which we know can go on a sustained run. It won't fizzle out when the trend is no longer hot. It's not contingent on that. And also, it's, in my opinion, less susceptible to PvP since the OG is so well established in this case. Whereas, like, you have Franklin coming on and the coins launching, I think, within days of each other. It's a little bit more confusing for people, and you have people jumping ship to go from one to the other. And so I think Monkey's less susceptible just because of how established it is. We've seen Monkey coins come and go that were pretty scammy, and they did not last. So I believe that Monkey is established enough to have a sustained run. Also, you can see here from the chart, it is definitely bottomed out. We've been bouncing around probably between 700,000 to 344,000, over the last month or more. And so the fact that it's bottomed out means when we start adding buyers, when we get that catalyst, then we're more likely to run just because we've got major holders left, people that have been around for the longest, who bought in early and held and continue to add. And because of that, and the fact that we're sitting on the bottom, I think we're going to go on a sustained run once we have that catalyst we've been talking about. And as we know, the top wallets are not selling. So the top wallets are holding, and a lot of them have entries within between 2 and 4 million, and have since obviously dollar cost average down. But because they've been in for so long, that shows the conviction, and they're not selling, which is extremely bullish. Also, we're well known on X with a solid community, and we're known as a community coin. And I think people like that, and when they see a coin like this run, they're more likely to trust it just because there's folks shilling the project every single day. Also, Alon, if he comes back, that's kind of a wild card, the whole pump fund thing. If Alon returns and they start doing some new things and focusing more on the stuff launched on Pump Fun, Monkey could run. They would want a runner just to bring the spotlight back on Pump Fun. And as we know, Monkey's already one of the OGs in the Pump Folio. Also, a number of influencers have already held, and I believe they'll come back when we start running. And we know the names of those that have held over the past few months. And I do think that once they see that run starting, they'll jump back in because they know the potential of Monkey. They see the community out there working. And I think also once we start getting just a few green candles, I think the community will be energized and start working our bags even harder. And so it's going to kind of have that ripple effect where we keep working harder as we see the price go up and we don't sell. I think that's perfect recipe for an incredible run here. So I just thought I'd just mention those things all at once. There's probably others as well that I haven't even thought of, but overall, Monkey's just simple narrative, easy to understand meme that's bottomed out. To me, it's a perfect canvas for a great run, and I'm looking forward to it. Let's look at the news on X here. First, Levis here says, "What happened to conviction? Pretty much unheard of nowadays." And I agree, there's not too much conviction out there. There's a lot of pump and dumps and holding for a couple days, if that, and then dumping. People don't trust each other. So it's easier to just have conviction, in my opinion. Pick the best coin, which is Monkey, hold on to it and have some conviction, and that's going to help us make it. Bitcoin coin historian here says, fact MasterCard will soon let over 1 billion users spend Bitcoin and crypto. Global financial adoption is here. And this is just one in a long list of news articles about these major banks and credit card companies accepting and offering the purchase of crypto, which is huge. Vivek Sen, on a similar note, said banking giant Western Union CEO said live on Bloomberg they will provide crypto on and off ramp. It's happening. That's huge. Western Union, I know, is used in a lot of countries. And if that's an on ramp to an off ramp to crypto, that's one of the biggest issues with normies that onboard is they don't know how to get money on or off. And if that, I mean, that pretty much kills any interest they might have in crypto if they don't have that. So the fact that Western Union, which is well known and can be used to send money back and forth between folks in different countries, if they offer it, then that would be absolutely incredible because so many people have access to Western Union. Soap here said, everyone wants to know how we do it. Success isn't complicated. Show up every day, reply, engage, add value. Do that long enough and you win. So I thought this was a great quote. And he says, success isn't complicated. That doesn't mean it's easy though. The formula might be easy, but to execute is difficult. So showing up every day, replying and adding value, those are all things we could do as members of the Monkey Project. Coach Ty says Bitcoin makes its moves in just 10 days a year, and those days are coming. I think it's very likely Bitcoin will be above 100,000 before year end, maybe even hitting a new all-time high. This is the kind of energy the market was waiting for. When Bitcoin decides to run, it runs fast. Stay ready. The next 10 days could change everything. And so I agree with him. Crypto is volatile, and a lot of the gains are made in just a few parabolic days. I know I've talked about it before with Monkey that when we run, I think we're going to run hard just because of that core community base. But the point is, be ready for it. It's going to come quickly, and make sure you are in position. We talked about this before. Coin Bureau says huge Fed to cut rates next week. White House advisor Kevin Hassett says the Fed will likely cut rate as soon as next week, which is great news for the economy and for the money flowing around. Bitcoin Magazine reports here that 5 trillion Fidelity CEO Abigail Johnson says, I like Bitcoin, I own Bitcoin. It will play a role in the savings hierarchy. So this is just another bank slash investment firm that's coming out and pro crypto. So definitely this is on the radar of these big companies. And typically that's a good thing for crypto because the more folks that adopt, the more folks that are able to buy it through a platform like Fidelity, the better off it is for Bitcoin and crypto. And Vice President JD Vance says 100 million Americans will own Bitcoin before too long. That's a third of the country, and that would be really high adoption. And this type of stuff is what really helps get more normies in to invest and just overall have money flow to crypto is by making talks like this and comments like this. Don't forget everybody to follow monkey soul underscore here on X. That's a great account, and shilling under the main account's post will help it hopefully get more impressions. And so definitely do that. Follow if you haven't already, and like and repost and comment under the post of the main monkey account. Also, I want to say please engage on TikTok. It's getting some good impressions there, and I think we can just get better. So please do engage on TikTok as well. Well, thank you, everybody. I hope you all have a great week upcoming.